Hello there, and welcome to today's lesson on creating a gradient or value scale in colored pencils. So some things you're going to need to get are your value scale flower from your packet. You'll need some colored pencils and your zipper pouch with your handheld sharpener. I'll let you pause right here. In the meantime, go ahead and grab those things and come back and meet me in a second. Now you've got your things. Let's take a moment to talk about what exactly is a gradient and what exactly is a value scale. Let's begin by looking at an artwork that uses a gradient in it. Here you're seeing an example of a gradient artwork that shows you a gradual change from light to dark. So all of this was used with just the colored pencils, and then they have lightened and darkened using their pressure to create those different values within the color. What is a value scale? Well, a value scale is a tool that artists use to practice and learn how to control a new media. So hopefully you'll learn a little bit more about what you need to do to use colored pencils through this exercise. All right, now let's talk some basics when it comes to colored pencils. Number one, you're going to create most of your variation or change in value or light or darkness by using pressure, which is another word of saying how hard you're pressing on the colored pencil. The harder you press, the darker and more saturated your color will be. The lighter you press, the lighter the color will be on the paper. Let's take a moment here and talk about sharpening. What we use here in the Oregon Trail Art Room are these. They are awesome because they are all color. They are woodless colored pencils. And they are terrific because they don't need to be sharpened as often as your traditional colored pencils. But you have to use your handheld sharpener from your zipper pouch because these are fragile and will easily break off in an electric sharpener and will break it or cause us to take some time to have to fix it. Now we are ready to begin our value scale. Remember, a value scale is something to help you learn how to control a media. When beginning, you can start with your hue, and you may choose any hue from the colored pencils that you would like to use. Remember that a hue is a color from the color wheel, this outside. If you're thinking of black, brown, or gray, those don't really apply. You want to pick a hue from that color wheel. So I'm going to start actually with my tints. It's easiest to do it this way just because you're really working on pressure. And when you're creating your tints in colored pencil, the first thing you're going to be able to do is just color very, very lightly. I'm still going to work to fill the space neatly and completely. I'll go ahead and I'll speed these sections up so you don't have to wait and watch me. So there is my first tint of red. What I want to do now as I work into this next one is I want to push just a little bit harder. So now that there is a noticeable difference here, I'm going to move to my third tint and again, press just a little bit harder than I did on the last one. Remember to work carefully so that your hue or your tint remains even throughout each one. Now I'm ready to do my hue that I want to be the most saturated, so I'm going to press even a little bit harder than I did this last time. There we go. And it's still kind of close. I can always go back in and fill it in more. But I now have, with just one colored pencil, I have learned how to create 3 different versions of red. As we begin with the shades, you want to remember that a shade is where you are blending with black. So I'm actually going to go back to more of a medium type pressure here. So that I can now take my black and go over again with a medium pressure. Here again, I'm going to press a little bit. And this time I'm pressing a little bit harder with my black. I noticed that these two still look kind of the same, so I'm going to go over it with red one more time and pressing harder this time. And I'm ready to move on to my darkest. This time, I'm going to start with my black and then go over with my red. Now, as I'm able to look at these, I see a gradual change from light to dark here. One last bonus thing that you can have a chance to try if you're interested is blending with white. White actually does not necessarily lighten another color, but white is used as a blender to smooth it. So it's actually looking like it's darker than this one, but it is a smoother texture than this one. The same thing would happen down here. So feel free to even try it over maybe parts of your shade. Have fun.